Hello everybody, welcome back to the OVRC Racing for a one-off race. This is the multi-class test race we're doing at Silverstone with the recently updated GTR1 class and plus the GTR3, which is now being very well known by the drivers of the leagues. Of course, once again, joined by Erwin, who's
Hello.
you basically expect him now every time he's here. Every time we do a stream, he's here. So,
Yay.
yay. So, we're back at Silverstone again. I'm saying like we're back, like oh we're back here after season after season. We've been one race here, but it is quite a popular track, isn't it? As we already got some people already on the server, so that was a very quick turnaround really of drivers getting on the server. We have our first couple of cars, and as you can see here, this is the first glimpse we have of the GTR1 class. This is the Nissan GTR GT1. Not a very confusing name because it's got a lot of GTs in it. But as I was saying, we're back at Silverstone again. How do you like the circuit, Erwin?
I think it's pretty enjoyable circuit to drive for the most part. There's a few corners that I'm not really such a big fan of, but overall I think it has a nice flow to it.
Yes, it's used a lot because of it's one of the biggest, most famous circuits in the history of motorsport. It's especially because its significance in the Formula One. But it's got some corners where people like, some people don't. Some people don't like the recent versions of it. Most notably the addition of the village section, which is we'll show you it once we do an onboard lap with as you can see on screen, Mark Whitford in the GTR. But it's generally a track most people seem to like, so this is why we picked it for this. It just made sense for a test race of these new cars to test on the track, which everyone would know. So as I said before, it's GTR1 or GT1 and GTR3, GT3. Before people will complain saying there are cars in GTR1 which are not true GT1s by the FIA, what they call one, but it's a game. They're all bopped together, so it's fine. But it's a new class. Have you managed to driven much of these cars yet in game, or you sort of not managed to have a go yet?
I just had a very short go-in one, and around this track in the rough. And I think it's pretty enjoyable to drive. Certainly a bit more challenging than the GT3s because they've got more power, and I don't think they have traction control. So that makes things a bit more tricky. And of course, yeah, they're not actually that much faster in the corners than GT3, and the brakes aren't much better either. So you really have to brake much earlier than you're used to.
Yeah, you have to sort of bear in mind that the cars themselves don't have much more downforce than a GT3. They have a tiny bit more, obviously. But the engine, they have about 100 plus more brake horsepower going through the wheels, and as you said again, no traction control, no ABS. This is all about the driver. As well, they also actually have a newer version physics on them, because as the game evolves, the physics will get better and better, and these have the latest version of the physics on them. So if what new content will be up to this level once it gets added to once it gets done to the game. So we've got 5 cars on the server, none yet to set a time, which is well, not surprising. It's literally the first 5 minutes of the session underway. We're looking at Thomas Jensen, who won the GT3 series, season 3. He's in the Gumpert So let's actually head on board with him. Or if it'll allow me. Nope. That's nice. It's like, and I forget why it doesn't work. One minor issue which needs to be worked on these cars is they don't have the onboard cameras yet. That's why it's not working. It's like, oh, let's go on board, and then it turns out they don't actually have an onboard, so I got to find a GT3 car to do it with. Luckily, we do have some GT3s on the server. We actually have 2 of them, in the form of Dendru in the Mercedes AMG, and Seven De Ross, who's in the Z4. As we get our first timed lap of the session. Now remember, you can still sign up for this race. There's a link in the description if you want to join in on this. There's still time. You got until 8 o'clock British summer time to join. As we now head on to an onboard of Dendru doing his laps, he enters into Abbey for the first corner of Silverstone. A lot of sweeping corners here as you go to heavy braking into Village. And this is the new sector, which some people either like or don't. It's basically adds another overtake opportunity with a slow hairpin at what's called the loop, I believe. Don't know. And then you head down to the Wellington Straight. And this is the main difference of the newer version of the track. It's not new anymore, it's been there for quite a while now, but the most recent rendition of this circuit. Heading into Brooklands. And then to Luffield. And again, you can see there's a lot of sweeping corners. There's not many, apart from again the village section, there's mostly a lot of natural corners. Goes through Woodcut, which is where the national pits are. Not really used very much, apart from the main series that use them is the Block Pan GT series. For some reason, they prefer using it than compared to the international pits as well, which is the pits we're using now into Maggots and Beckett's. Very fast, high speed, complex. Gotta get the car balanced up to get here through here properly, and it's quite a difficult section of track. Then you head onto the hangar straight. Under heavy brakes into Stowe. Braking into Vale. Now we're going through Club, and then that's a lap of Silverstone. As Dendru's going to cross the line, he puts himself into second place with a 2 minute and 2.6. Now, one thing to bear in mind is, of course, that unfortunately racing does not do a very good job of doing it to does not differentiate the differences between cars classes on the overlay, so you sort of got to guess by which ones are. Luckily, we'll be able to tell you which ones are which, and quite obviously the performance difference will be quite significant. The GT3 ones are quite a bit quicker.
Eight people in the server so far. We've currently got Mark Whitford, Robert Nygaard, Thijs Dendo, Sven de Roos, newcomer to the OVRC. Haven't seen him before. Thomas Jansen, Dima Bugaev, another newcomer, Sebastian Brunier, and of course Tom Dentist.
Yes, right now the most popular class is the GTR ones, and it's not surprising the new cars, the new toys, and everyone's had a go in them, which is the somewhat purpose of this race, is to allow people to have a go and test these in the race condition, but also test if multi-class formats do work, especially in the 1 hour sprint races as such that we do. So we can look at Bueg, the way to pronounce it, is he's in the Koenigsegg.
Koenigsegg.
Yep, pretty much. This car's quite interesting actually because it was built to older GT1 regulations, but in 2009 there was a big switch up in the regulations, which basically meant it couldn't compete anymore. Unfortunately, so it sort of disappeared into the ether. Racing brought it in originally as what they called the GTRX class. That is now gone and replaced by its new GTR1, which contains all these cars in it. So, but there we go. You can now see it driving in action, virtually. So he sets his time is a what was it? 157.6. We've got quite an array of cars so far, and I believe on the sign-ups we had most of the cars were present of the GT1 category. Of course, it's going to be a lot harder to get all the cars to GT3 together because 20 or so of them, 19, 20 of them, GTR3 cars in the game. It's quite a large class to get through. We watch Thomas Jensen, who's in the Gumper.
Jensen's is the fastest Sector 1 so far, 3/10 faster than Whitford. Whitford, by the way, is in the Nissan GTR GT1.
Yep. I don't believe anyone did sign up with a regular GTR GT3, so hopefully we shouldn't be too much confusion in that regard, because that'll be a bit confusing with both of them, because again, there's no way to differentiate them on the overlay.
Alright, so the GT3 cars we'll have here for you today will be the Mercedes, the BMW Z4, the Bentley, and the McLaren. So I don't think there's any overlap in terms of manufacturers between the GT3 and GT1 entries.
Well, that's a good sign for no worker which is which. I mean, if you know what they look like, you can quite obviously tell by looking at screen as Thomas Jensen does set the fastest lap in the session at 155.7. But yeah, luckily with the no overlap, it shouldn't be an issue. The main issue will be stuff like the Nissan and the Fords, because again, there's a Ford GT, GT3, and a Ford GT, GT1. Speaking of GT1 Ford, we do have one. Tom Dentist is in one right now. See, he's got
looking very low and wide.
one wide. It's again another one of the purebred GT1 race cars as such. It's one of the new ones. I think it's 2010-9 built originally. It was built to the newer regulations of GT1, but it is a proper GT1 car through and through. And it did actually race towards the end of GT1, and it's before it sort of died in 2012. Don't actually have too much information outside of that. I probably could have more. I probably should have prepared more, but here we go.
Looks like the Ford GT1 was introduced in 2009.
Yeah, it was built to the newer regulations of GT1. So the Nissan was part of the same batch of newer cars. There's a bit of contact there with the Mercedes. Not quite getting up the radar, the Mercedes, unfortunately. Rules are normal rules here when it comes to blue flags and faster cars. We generally put on the responsibility of the faster car to make the move. Because again, they're in the faster vehicle and they should be able to make the move rather than the slower cars going round. We have Kovalainen on the server now. He's in the Bentley. He's another one of our regulars from the GT3 series and the recently ended WTCC challenge. He's in the Bentley, which is not a car I don't think I've seen him in before. There we go, a Bentley. Of course, the Bentley did win the GT3 series, if that means anything.
Yeah. I think Anton was driving the McLaren, if I remember correctly, in the last GT3 season.
Yeah, I believe he was. And saying that, he does lose the back end there on the curb, so the GT3s obviously have a lot more assists. They're a lot easier for a slower driver. It doesn't mean you can't be a quick driver in them. And again, there's no, in the OVRC, there's no restrictions on what car you can enter in. So it's nothing stopping you being a fast driver going into the GT3 or being a slow driver going to the GT1s. Unless it gets to a point where it's considered dangerous to other drivers. Then it gets a bit difficult. But other than that, it's pretty much whatever you want to drive, which is a great thing. I think it allows everyone to have a go at everything. We've got a couple of people so far. I haven't set a time. We've got 11 cars on the server. A few people yet to set times. Of course, the order will be a bit simpler once all the GT1 set times, because they will be quicker. It's just a matter of fact that the cars are a quicker car. In most cases, will have faster lap times. Also, this is practice, so it's a chance for people to get used to, get set up working. It's not important. Times don't really matter yet. It's qualifying where times do matter. That's where you'll be on the grid. So Cloverline heads into Vale, and to Club, and let's see what time he can set. He's yet to set a time in the Bentley. I don't know what he's going to be looking for. Maybe puts himself currently P1 in class, which is 5 seconds behind the fastest GT1. So you can sort of see the pace difference there. The slowest GT1 is 1.9 seconds slower than the fastest one. And there's still a 5-second gap between the fastest GT3 and the fastest GT1. So that's the pace difference between these cars.
"13 people in the session now, with Timothy Haynes and Turk Häkkinen having joined the GT3 class.
It's quite interesting to see some of the GT3 regulars also trying out new cars in this race. So there's no reason why not to. I mean, there's an opportunity to try these new cars out without having to risk a championship on them. Obviously, the rules in the OVRC do state you can't change vehicles, and the reason for that is to stop people switching vehicles to suit particular tracks. Because obviously, while the GT3s are all bopped, they do have different characteristics. Some would just be faster in other circuits than others. Like the Bentley stuff was struggling at the twistier tracks, and McLaren had the advantage at stuff like Monza was the other way around. So to stop people changing cars just for the sake of trying who can get the fastest car for a particular track. If you're wondering why that rule's in place. It also just means that people actually have to learn and understand their car, and it's a bit of development into the setups as you tell people get faster and faster each race in their cars. As they work out, like, oh, if I do this, they'll set up tweak it, it makes the car more comfortable. As we watch Tom Dentist across the line now, he puts himself P3, which is nearly a second behind Thomas Jensen. It will be worth to bear in mind that Thomas Jensen is cheating because he had as previous experience with these cars. He's a beta tester, so he tests them. Got our first Saleen on the server. This Saleen GT1, another one of the. It's actually an older GT1, an early 2000s one. It raced a very long race career because it lasted all the way up until 2011, I believe. In terms of racing in GT1. Built by the Saleen company as a sort of homologation specialist, such a limited production race car or a road car turned into a race car.
You can see it's actually following some GT3 cars right now, so if we can keep an eye on him, that will be a good demonstration of the pace difference between these cars.
It's a bit wide out of cops. He is getting on slowly. He is sliding it a lot around there, and there's the back end goes. You can't slide his cars too much because they have much more grip than a GT3 in the same situation, and generally you can't slide cars much to get much speed out of them. It's not the fastest way to go around the corner. Kevin Naff sets his first time in the BMW. It was a 2-minute 3.1.
Dima Bugaev is looking to improve his time, setting a new personal fast sector 1. He's in the Koenigsegg.
So this is that one of the Koenigsegg's team names on the live timing is Egg Engineering. Just for a say that. Egg Engineering. The finest eggs in the land.
Lead engineer Dr. Robotnik.
Don't make me have to remind or start singing the dreaded song. Also, don't get copyright striked. Bit sideways there, going out of the exit of a club then.
He takes P4.
P4 overall and P4 in class. Robert Nygaard's going faster.
Yeah, Nygaard also improving his time, although his lap just got invalidated, I see.
I think it's very easy to get validated going out the anti-cops because it's very easy to go wide there, especially in these GT cars where the downforce is not quite there, but you're going quite fast, so you can go quite wide very easily.
Whitford is also improving. Doesn't seem it's not beating Jansen so far, so I don't expect him to get anywhere near that. He's getting a little.
Just that you know, not all cars have set times yet. There is 13 cars. Only 8 of them are set times. Remember, if you do want to join this race, you can still have time to sign up. There's a link in the description to the sign up page, and also on the website there should be somewhere a link to the Discord. If there's not, then someone might post one in chat. Now, one thing that's been discussed before the race was the fuel rate on the GT1s. Oh,
Buggy, I've
never
just
goes.
lost it on the straight at the end, the exit of Club.
That's cops. That's club. Yeah, sorry. Looking at the wrong pit lane. Yes, club. There.
As a Jorgen Welby just don't deserve another Koenigsegg. So 14 people in the session now.
Another one of our regular drivers, Wolby is. He often drives Mercedes, so. But this time he's in the Koenigsegg. So he's a Swedish driver in a Swedish car. Obviously, plus 10 horsepower. Thomas Jensen improving globally in Sector 1, looking to raise the bar up some more as he goes through Woodcut. You can see one of the Koenigsegg's in the front of him right now.
Häkkinen also improving quite significantly in the GT3 class. So he's just coming around Club now. Let's see where he puts himself. Up into P7 overall, so that's second in class so far, although a lot of people have not yet set a time. Although it should only be 2 more GT3 drivers than what is currently on the board.
We've got 14 cars, and we had 16 sign-ups, so we have nearly everyone who signed up in the race, which is very good. Obviously, we like more cars, and you can, again, people, if you're interested, you can sign up again. Really pushing it. You should join.
See who we're still missing so far, so we can shame them.
Shame them. I know one of them already.
Yeah, Alex Hodgkinson hasn't joined yet.
And it would be... maybe Gonzalez.
I think Victor Berlin is still missing.
Oh, Victor Berlin, that's who it is. Yep, Victor Berlin. Completely ignoring the fact that Thomas Jensen did unfortunately validate his fastest lap. He's back on another fast lap again. He's closing right on the back of Begiv, the Koenigsegg. By the way, I'm gonna butcher a bunch of people's names. I'm sorry, can't do anything about it. I can't read.
Yeah, people who have watched our broadcast so far will know that.
Alex cannot pronounce any other names apart from his own.
Jensen does not improve the second sector, although he's not far off.
He's definitely going to extend his gap. He's still got nearly a 0.4 second lead over Whitford, who is currently in a second. This Jensen, of course, has the most amount of track time on these cars, so it's not surprising he's already saying the fastest, as he does improve his time.
Timothy Haynes also looking to improve his position in the GT3 class. He's in 9th overall so far. He is 4th in GT3. He's going around club now. There he comes across the finish line.
Stays
and
P9.
stays P9.
Does improve his time though. Tom Denters is looking to improve his times as the 30-minute mark has been passed. And we're going a quick break. Just leave the sounds of the cars in the background. and welcome back to the broadcast. As we enter the 24th minute left of the session, as we currently have 14 cards, all cards set times so far. Still missing 2 people who registered, but hopefully they come on a bit later. There's still time for them to join. So lucky now you can no, I'm wrong. First, I was about to say for the most part the classes sort themselves out, but Woolby currently is sort of in the between the 2 finished GT3 cars. Kind of ruining that order slightly. Otherwise it'd be perfect. Baston Brunier in the GTR right now. He's one of our regulars we have. Currently in P7. Unfortunately, you invalidates us for that. It's quite interesting to see we only have 1 Saline, despite the fact it's the free car in the game. It's one of the so it's free to get that car. You don't buy it. You have it as soon as you install Race Room. So I don't think it's one of the best cars for it because it is a GT1 class, but there we go. Is Erwin back yet with me? Very silent.
Yes, I am.
Yeah, analysing all the data. Currently your session leader is Thomas Jensen, who is getting a 155.3. Closest drive to him is Mark Whitford, who's all the way in not in P2 with a 156.1.
I wonder what's going on with Tom Dentist. We've come to expect a little more from him in GT3. Maybe he hasn't quite adapted to these GT1 cars quite yet. Of course, Thomas Jensen has a bit of an advantage in experience since he's a beta tester for the game, so he's had a fair bit more experience.
Yep, and he probably understands the setups more and everything else, because
yeah,
the one thing to bear in mind is the GT1s have a couple of aspects of the setup's been changed from GT3. They behave a lot more in the way they should, and it's stuff like the 0 wing and one wing meta has sort of doesn't work with them anymore. Unless you set up very high rake. So it's a bit more about finding compromise and balance compared to GT3s. So it will be a bit harder for people to set them up because they're still to learn the cars. And again, these cars have only been out for a week now, so they're not. They are still. People are still learning the characteristics. So we're gonna, as soon as Gonzalez goes a bit sideways there for Meggetts and Beckett's, will be setting personal fastest, so hopefully he moves out of the GT3 cars and moves into the GT1 cars.
Yes, let's see where he puts himself in the GT1 field. It looks to be last at the moment with the split times we got, and indeed.
Yes, he's being, not saying the fastest laps, but there's a big pile of smoke up from the first complex from a farm, so someone must have gone off there.
Thomas Jansen improves his sector 1, so looking to extend his lead.
Is there any point
also improving sector 2?
Like, the only way you can lose this race is strategy and traffic. He's got. I don't know if the others can get close to him right now. Oh, and, one of the cars has dropped out. That was Mark Whitford.
Yeah.
as Jensen practices pit stop entries. There will be pit stops in this race. It's a 1 hour race with ×2 fuel, so the cars will have to pit. There'll be two times fuel in to make the pit stops viable, because otherwise it'll just be a sprint race to the end. Don't know what's going on there with Mark Whitford. Maybe changing cars. Because cars are not really locked in this. This is sort of, again, more of a test race. So not being too strict on that rule.
Sven de Roos currently last in GT3, but looking to improve his time right now.
Will be
Just
doing the
coming
same.
around club.
But will be still quite a bit down in Sector 2. He's nearly 2 seconds down in Sector 2. Brunier is 1.9 seconds slower overall, so unless he can gain something in the last sector.
Seems that Sven lost a bit of time through the final sector, so he's still lost, unfortunately. As Mark Whitford has rejoined the server, and
In a GT3.
he appears to be in the GT3 Mercedes.
So, I don't know if you spend time in the GTR ones to practice with it for a bit, but he is now in the GT3 Mercedes. Still waiting for 2 more cars to join. I believe both of them are GTR1 classes anyway. As Dendry is in the previous time, but he's got a car in the way of Timothy Haynes in the other Mercedes. He's in that number 00 bright chrome livery, the Lincoln Park livery. I believe that raced in 2016 at the 24 hours of Spa. Which I believe is the significance of that livery. Sebastian Brunier looking to prove his times. He's currently second to last in class.
Holby also looking to improve once again, although he's just got his lap invalidated.
I think it's a bit sideways out of the exit club onto the start finish. Does not improve his time though. Looking at 2 cars improving their times.
Haynes just went very wide, so I'm not sure that lap is going to be valid. And wide at Cops. And indeed, his lap is invalidated.
You have one person setting a fastest personal sector. As all of the cars, I think, are just doing laps or are in the pits. But the time difference between Thomas Jensen and Tom Dentis is huge right now. Victor Berlin, by the way, is in the voice chat now, so he should be joining, which brings our gut to 15 cars. If anyone has applied for the race, there's still time. You've got 15 minutes to apply for the race if you want to join it. Häkkinen looking to improve his times in the McLaren, all the way in GT3. Only P11 overall. And we have Victor Berlin now on the server in the RUF CTR3. Now, this is the only car in this class which is completely made up, and which means I'm not very happy about it existing. um, the IRF CTR is a real car, but not in this race configuration in game, so I'm not very happy about it. But it doesn't matter, it's a game, and I need to stop worrying. As Hacken aborts his lap, he goes a bit wide into Maggers and Beckett's.
Alex Hodgkinson has now also joined the voice chat, so we should see him appear in the server very shortly.
So you can see Mark Woodford trying to ease out on track now in the GT3 at the Hello Kitty Mercedes AMG. The Mercedes AMG seems to be very popular right now. There's 3 of them on the server.
Yeah.
For a car which only had 1 regular driver in them for the last couple of seasons, it's interesting to see them possibly coming back again. I mean, we haven't seen this many since Season 1, and Season 1 was like more of a public lobby kind of style racing. So it was never really forced cars or anything like that. It was pick whatever you want kind of thing. So it's interesting to see that these Mercs are maybe coming for a comeback since that. It's been interesting to see the Mercs. Yeah, another car just leave. Yes, Tom Dentist has just left the server.
Nogan will be once again looking to improve, but doesn't quite seem on pace with the other GT1s still.
And you have to bear in mind that GT1s is A, the new class, and B, because of the fuel rate thing earlier, it may cause some issues with strategy with people's fuels. Because they may try and use their knowledge in GT3 and transfer them over and get caught out. So, plus again, a lot of difficult class, and driving these things for an hour will not be easy. So you may be able to pick up places just by not crashing and just keep going laps.
Yeah, these cars have no traction control, so they're and plenty of power, plenty of torque, so they can be a bit tricky on the throttle.
So the most
So
lucky cars.
Consistency will be key for this race.
Cars which are most likely going to spin out are the RUF and the GTR. The RUF dumps a huge amount of torque. It's a turbo car. It has a bit of turbo lag. It's been reduced over time, but it's still there, and it will for unsuspecting driver it will kick the car out, and it comes. You can control it. Luckily, if you know how to use your throttle, you can control the car to make it so it's not an issue. But you just gotta bear in mind that it is there. The good news for Warby is improving lap after lap right now. It does seem in sectors, so you may be able to eventually get a bit closer. There's another dropout. That's 2 dropouts and no rejoins yet. Can't tell who that was that dropped out though. I think it's most of the GT1 drivers. But for sets of time, he's all the way in power on P11 for 203.074. So not exactly on pace in that class either. I think Anton Kovalain's leading that class in the Bentley Continental. A 2-time championship winner and the most successful car in OVRC history. Only car that comes close to success is the Z4, surprisingly. I'm pretty sure anyway. The Z4 had a very, very, very strong Season 2. Guess who was driving it? The majority of that season. Gonzalez heads into the last couple of corners, Vale into Club. In the Saline. He's still the only Saline on the server. Wait to Berlin gets set time zone the IUF. So is he waiting for something? Will be improving his times again. He's slowly getting faster. Slowly getting faster each lap, and so he may have a good chance of maybe getting in front of Brunier. I mean, GT3, these two are very close to each other, consistently trading positions in terms of different races, so interested to see if they can do this again. Get into the last couple of corners now. Interesting to see some people have left the server though and not come back yet, because most people are in the voice chat. They're not really gone forever, so they're obviously changing something in the settings. Or we hope so anyway. As Wolby moves up. Does he move up? No. No, I thought he moved up for a second. But does improve his overall time. So he's slowly getting closer.
Caleb Gonzalez is also trying to get closer to Thomas Jensen.
Yep, he is currently the second quickest car, but that's mostly because Tom Dentist is not on the server right now. I don't know why.
Right.
Oh, I believe he's had another join. Yeah, Tom Dentist is now
Tom
back.
Dentist is back. Yeah.
Gonzalez is very wide out of a club though. Some corners of the track are very common spots to go wide in as we enter the 7-minute mark. Whitford looking to improve his times in the Merc. He's all the way down in P10 overall. P4 in class. It's not the best running for him.
Robert Nygaard is looking to improve his time, about to cross the line now. Didn't manage to improve. So he's still in P4. Only 6 minutes left in this practice session.
Whitford moves up into P2 in class, behind Kovalainen. Kovalainen's really going quickly in that Bentley.
We're still missing Dendo and Hodgkinson in the session so far. So let's hope they join in time for the race. Qualifying.
Endo was in earlier, and he's still in the voice chat. So it's very good signs that he will be on in a quick couple of seconds. Hodgkins is still in the voice chat, so he'll probably be on very shortly as well. I think he's just getting things set up. Hakkinen moves himself up into P9. So he puts himself on the second row of the GT3s, but this is practice, so not really important. By the way, remember that live timing is available if you there is ability on YouTube to view the other camera, which will bring you to the live timing, so you can see where everyone is. A bit more detail. You got
Alex Hodgkinson just joined the server in the Saleen.
So he's
GT1.
He's in the Saleen, so that makes 2 Saleens now. Let's see where he places. Oh, and there's Dendry back. So there we go.
There he is.
We have everyone on who has signed up for the race. has joined into the session.
I don't think we've ever had 100% turnout yet, but we've managed it this race, it seems.
Biggest turnouts were obviously the season 2, which were midpoint, but didn't always lead to the best racing, unfortunately. But there we go. We got 16 cars into a race which got sort of moved around a lot. It was planned to a couple of weeks back. The hot weather just kind of ruined it completely as a chance of happening because no one was there. Everyone was just dead. Moved it forwards, then the class changed, and then so 16 cars is pretty good as Gonzalez does not improve his time at all. He's a good 5 seconds slower this lap. Overline looking to improve his time. As we got 3 minutes until the driver's briefing begins. Going a bit sideways out of Stowe. Stowe. I don't remember if you pronounce E or not. Overline improves his time. He's still the fastest in GT3. Closest car is Whitford, with about nearly 7/10 off him. Well, if you want to know the difference between the, if you want a clear way of the classes, the Lighting does have a better description of the classes. It does actually show the class they're in, and as well as the gap between the previous car. It's a lot easier to follow each class individually as Tom Dentist sets the time. He put himself in second. Still a second off though Thomas's ultimate lap, so either Thomas has gone full qualifying mode, or he just has that much of an advantage. So with under a minute, nearly a minute left to go, I don't think there's any more times coming out. Saying that, Kevin Naff does improve Sector 2 as he gets overtaken by Tom Dentist in the GT1. And the good news is there's no overlap between the cars in terms of classes, so makes our job and your job a bit easier. Oh, and Naff spins it, coming into club, so that lap is ruined, and I believe that'll be our last timed lap as the closing final few seconds. There we go, the last couple of seconds coming to now. And there we go, practice is over. And now we're going to move into the driver's briefing.
Back because it's going to be the same. Take it easy, don't do stupid shit or something.
Okay, you've heard it before.
Yeah, I will be right back.
Okay, I think the only one we're missing is Caleb. So I hope he'll at least stay in the pit. I guess we'll just start then. So welcome to Silverstone, everyone. This is going to be the first multi-class race for some people, and I think that's the most important point we need to address. So these GT1 cars, luckily, are not like the prototypes where they are much faster in the corners. The main advantage they have is the power on the straights. So the passing is going to be fairly straightforward. It's just you can stay behind. The cornering speed isn't that much higher, so you can easily stay behind the GT3s in the corners and just fly by on the straights. And just the job for the slower cars, you don't have to move over. You can do that if you want, but we prefer that you just stay in your line and be predictable. That's the main point. Like you have the right for the, to take your lines. Just make sure to drive predictably, so the faster class knows where to go, can do the passes safely. For the GT1 specifically, the double fuel rate makes them very thirsty. So you may have to do 2 pit stops if you're not into fuel saving. So just take care of that and make sure to practice your pit stops as well in qualifying if you haven't done so already, because you don't want to get a drive-through for speeding in the pit lane. And for the GT3s, it should be the same as always. Just you have to do 1 pit stop because you don't have enough fuel for the whole race, but 2 pit stops is definitely not necessary. Tires are optional. It's up to your preference. Know if anyone else has anything to add.
Sounds good to me.
And another thing for the faster class on this track, it's the main dangerous part is Maggots and Beckets, of course. Luckily, we're not that much faster there, so I don't think you'll be able to overtake there. So just make sure to stick behind the GT3s and just wait for the next straight. It will be fairly easy that way. We don't want any dive bombs on the lower classes. Alright, anything else? Then everyone is free to start qualifying. Good luck.
So as normal, that is your driver's briefing by Thomas Jensen. As qualifying is underway, we had to have a dropout. Don't know who.
I think it's Sven de Roos. He was in the voice chat for the briefing though, so I'll expect him to be back shortly.
As we can sort of see the pace difference between the GT1s and the GT3s as both Nygaard side by side Whitford in the outlap. So it's going to be quite interesting to see how qualifying will go in this, as Whitford does lose it when we get round the outside. But Nygaard currently has track position, he's first on track right now. Let's see if he can where he can put himself, what times we can expect. As I said it before, and we mentioned a couple of times before, the GT1s are a bit thirsty on fuel. So, how's that going to play out? We don't know yet. It's the first time we're going to use these cars. If you Maggot and Beckett, Nygaard goes, and the corny zig zig zig. With most cars, bar 3, are out of track right now. It'll be interesting to see how many space people can gain, if any. So, 20 minutes left of the session to go as Robert Nygaard crosses the line to start his first timed lap of the OVRC multi-class test race at Silverstone. It's through Abbey and Farm into now Village. Towards the loop. Now you have to blast it out towards the Wellington Straight. This is where the GT1s will have a huge advantage over the GT3s, just in terms of pure speed. What happens when you have 100 extra brake horsepower in your engine? There we go. The person who was not in the session has come back, so everyone is now back in the session. Through the national pits he goes into cops. Try and not make the car oversteer, otherwise you have an invalid lap. Did another car leave again? I believe he did. Right, out he comes, out of Chapel, down the hangar straight.
Yeah, it looks like Hodgkinson has disappeared from the server.
The brakes now goes into Vale. And it's quite a bit of track space he does. No one really behind him. It seems like it won't be an issue as he crosses the line. What time will he put himself? He puts himself a 157.0373. Now the other laps start coming in. Now this is the interesting part as the track gets more and more busy.
Indeed, and Thomas Jansen is just coming around club.
And he puts
Setting a fast lap so far. It takes P1, and they 155.8. 1.2 seconds better than Nygaard.
What did he? On my screen he's not setting anything. Does he got invalidated?
Oh no, wait, that was Dentist.
Yeah, Dentist gets the fastest lap with 155.8 and Thomas Jensen gets invalidated on the last sector. I was wondering what you're talking about because his time didn't show up, and there we go. Tom Dentist is currently your prisoner pole. Only 4 GT3 set times, only 2 GT1 set times. Nygaard 1.2 seconds off the pace of Tom Dentist's time.
As Hodgkinson has joined the server again.
Stowe. Or Stowe? I need to work out what the correct way of saying that corner is. Is it Stowe or Stowe? It's the E silent. Doesn't really matter much as Nygaard goes round club. Here's the start finish line. Currently P3. He improves his time but does not improve his position.
Managed to shave a couple tenths off though, so making progress.
Jensen's on a very quick lap, nearly half a second up on Tom Dentist's time. Puts himself P1 with 154.5. So, can anyone get close to that time or not?
I mean, from what we've seen so far in practice, not really, unless Dentist can pull something off, then I'd expect Jansen to take pole position very easily. He's going out on track again though, so maybe he thinks he can get some more time, as I think Gonzalez just took P3.
$15 minutes left in the session. 9 cars set times out of a total of 16 cars. 15 right now, but there will be 16 cars, I'm pretty sure. Victor Berlin yet to be out yet. He's still in the pits. He's the only car out on, not on track, which is not yet set a time.
Yeah, that's a bit curious. I think he often struggles to get a clean lap in qualifying. So I thought he'd do a safe banker lap early in the qualifying session, just to make sure he doesn't have to start from the back. But he's still in the pits so far.
Mark Whitford invalidates his lap. Currently fastest in class. The Kovaline's yet to actually set a fast lap yet, so we can see what Kovaline can do. As Sven de Vos is coming around now into Vale very shortly. Rob Nygaard is behind. Don't know if Rob Nygaard is on fast. There's a bit of contact there, I think. I believe there's a bit of contact there with Nygaard, so. And Ross's lap is ruined somewhat. As Ross has put himself. Yeah, you lose a lot of time there in the last sector, so I believe there might be a bit of contact there with the faster car. Remember, being in the faster car does not automatically gain you the right to overtake someone. You have to do it on merit. The deductible cars can give a gap up if they feel like they should, but they don't have to. There's obviously blocking, and that's just not allowed. You can't just block a faster car going through, as Thomas Jensen setting a faster time.
Tom Dentist is new fastest first sector is very close to Jensen though.
Oh, Jensen is improving all the sectors right now though, so I don't know how close that will be after the sector improvements. As Thomas Jensen heads into a Vale. And start finish straight. Improves his time to a 1:54.3. Tom Dentist.
Dentist so far half a second down on Jensen, his new fastest lap.
Does anyone actually have an answer to Thomas Jensen?
I doubt it. Of course, Dentist gonna try his best though.
Dentist puts himself, improves his time. He's now under a second. He's got 10 minutes left in the session, so can he improve much further? He seems to be loaded up fuel for multiple laps out as he's going for another lap.
Sebastian Bjornier about to cross the line. Moves up into P6, so he's actually faster than Walby now.
Walby seems to be struggling in his cars. He was always
Yeah.
midfield in GT3s, but unless he's way down the order in GT1s, so.
Yeah, of course we don't know how much time he's spent on them so far.
Gonzalez is currently improving his times. He's improved sector 1. As every car now has either set a lap or is out on track right now. Cars yet to set times are Sven de Vos, Victor Berlin, Alex Hodgkinson, and Hakkinen. The speed difference on the straight there with the GT1 and GT3. going down the hangar straight. As he crosses the line now, he puts himself P14, so I think it's a very, very slow lap indeed. Alex Washington is on his first timed lap. It's not a particularly good one, so I had traffic up ahead or something in the way as he's 4 seconds down in sector 2. But he's currently last in class, so
Victor Berlin has in the meantime put himself in P7, so he has got a lap in now, and he's also improving that lap at the moment.
the only RUF on the server right now. And the only Porsche-based car, which is surprising because the Porsche GT3R is a very popular
Normally
car. So,
very popular.
oh, and he's returned to the pits.
Berlin back into pits.
Sven de
So
Ross.
obviously he was not happy with something.
Sven de Ross improving sector 1. He's now entering Maggots and Beckett's now. He's currently last in class, and all the cars have set times in GT3.
Hodgkinson looking to improve, but he has some traffic of one of the GT3 cars coming up ahead. So I'm not sure he's going to be able to pull off a fast lap with that car in front of him. And gets Kevin Neff in front of him and is back in the pits.
So obviously he thought that he couldn't get the lap in. He's got 7 minutes left, so he's gonna have to do something about that lap.
Sven de Roos just coming round club onto the straight or to cross the line. He's still in last position.
Oh, very, very slow. Woolby's got a big old toe there from Nygaard, I believe. No, it's Nygaard getting the toe from Woolby. There we go. Both green calling his legs. He gets his toe all the way up the hangar straight. Don't know how much it's going to affect his lap though, as they're both right in front of each other. Get squirmy on the exit of club.
Well, be improved this time, but not his position.
He is getting closer though to the times in front, so
To
he is
Berlin.
improving, which is a good sign for him. Dendrew crossed the line, does not improve his position. It does improve his time though, I believe. No, Jensen is still untouchable right now in terms of pace. He's still nearly 0.8, well, he is 0.8 of a second ahead of Tom Dentist.
Haynes looking to improve in the GT3 Mercedes. Crosses the line. And moves up into P12. Which is third in class.
Bastian Brunier improving his first sector in the Nissan. The only Nissan currently in the server.
Only person not to set the time so far is Turke Häkkinen in the McLaren GT3. Looking to set a time now. It's on a fast lap.
And Stowe Brunier goes. 8 seconds down, so I don't know how much of an improvement this lap will be. Depends how much time he can make up in the Vale chicane. Does improve his time, not improve his position. It's a 156.7 now. Still 2.4 seconds off the pace.
Victor Berlin coming onto the hanger straight now, looking to improve his time. He's improved so far in both sectors. Let's see if he can overtake Brunier for P6.
I don't think he will, because his sector 2 is slower than Brunier's sector 2. It's 2 seconds slower. Across the line, 2.7, so it is a slower lap.
Did not improve. Yeah, he did not improve his time, so he lost some time in the last sector.
Alex Hodgkin is currently sitting at improvement. Still near a second off in sector 1.
Turka Häkkinen hasn't said that he's in the pits, so it doesn't look like he'll have the time to be able to do that. So looks like he's starting from last position.
Looks like he will be doing starting from the back of the grid.
Also, looks like Jensen has clinched pole position because Tom Dentist a timed lap right now, but he's a second off already in sector 1. So unless he can do something magic in the next sectors.
I guess this would be suddenly becomes a race of strategy now. That's quite a big pace difference, so in the between first and second place, it's not a normal gap between we've seen these two drivers. We normally see them a lot closer together.
That is quite a large gap. Not really getting close to his current best time.
Berlin crossed the line, keeps himself P7. Again, another slower lap. Hodgkin's now drastically improved his time. He's now half a second down sector 1 compared to a second down. There's only 1 minute left, so this will be his last shoot to move him out of P9. He's currently last in class right now. I mean, from what we've seen in qualifying, it's been fairly quick in qualifying for the most part, with not many issues with traffic. So, which has been surprising, because obviously that's one of the concerns coming into this would be the pace difference of the cars would affect them quite a bit when it comes to qualifying. Right, the
Gavin Neff is exiting club now, looking to improve his position in GT3.
Does 20 seconds left, though.
No, he stays P13 overall.
I mean, 15 seconds as Hodgkin crossed the line. Does he improve his position? He moves himself up to P6. So ahead of Brunier, Berlin, and Wolby. As there's 2, 1, and there we go. There is your qualifying results. John Denson takes pole in GT1, and Attic Overline takes P1 in GT3. So, we're now on the countdown to the race. Let me just see what happens. So, all the cars start lining up on the grid. It's a 1 hour race, so it's important to bear that in mind. So 10 seconds left for everyone to go on the grid. The last couple are joining now. And there we go, we've got a full grid as the lights will be turning red very shortly. And we're off for the 60 minutes of Suzuka Multiclass OVRC Multiclass test race. And looks like Jensen managed to get a very clean start, managed to jump in, keep his position. Gonzalez jumped up to P2.
Looks like Hodgkinson had a bad start. He's back to P10, actually behind Whitford's GT3 car.
Häkkelen's jumped up a few places on the start. He's has a bit of contact between Kovalainen and Hodgkinson there, the GT1, as Kovalainen managed to jump up a few places as the Mercedes of Tim Haynes goes very wide out of the loop there. Already some overtakes as Häkkelen's go down the inside of NAF, moves himself up to P11 overall and P2 in class, because I can't tell what's going on right now. So many positions are moving.
Hodgkinson just overtook Whitford, so he's back in the GT1 class. Unfortunately, in last year's bad start. Looks like Dendo has dropped back quite a bit. I think he's been having some connection issues because he was teleporting quite a bit.
He's all the way back as Victor Berlin trying to make some move onto Warby, who's managed to make himself up to P7 out of the chaos at the start. See how long this will last. There's the pole sitter in GT3 is all the way down in P14 right now. As right now,
Kovalainen looking to make the move on Haynes on the inside. He had a look up the inside, but he is slotted back in behind.
as go for the completely first lap of this race, and Thomas Jensen's built quite as a spin there.
Oh, someone's spun.
As NAF, I believe, has spun on the Vale chicane. And he's lost a bunch of positions. He's now blasting class. So he's now got a lot of work to do to make up his positions. Victor Berlin's on the back of Walby, his fellow Swede, as they try.
Walby also closing up on Brunier.
As they are trying to slowly close the gap again.
Then those connections seems to be doing fine again, and he's getting closer to Rose.
They go through Luffield towards the national pits. It's got a lot of slipstream there. He goes to the inside through Cops. Just has to hang back though. You can't really overtake there very easily. It's a bit too high speed in these cars and don't have quite the downforce necessary to make the move work. I believe there's very damage on Denju's car there. The front bumper as NAF goes flying in the background. He's trying to make his positions up, and that's not a way to do it.
Not having a good time so far. He went flying out of the corner.
He has launched himself as Denju makes the move onto Roos and has to go defensive into the Vale chicane. And looks like he will manage to make the overtake work, so he moves up into P14 overall. Berlin closing on the back of Walby again, as Walby just closed the back of Sebastian Brunier.
Kovalainen also closing up on Häkkinen onto the straight now. It's going up the inside.
Yep, they're going up the inside.
Can he make it stick?
Gets outbraken by Häkkinen, but Häkkinen may have gone. Yeah, Häkkinen's gone very wide there in Brooklands, now through Luffield. And I think Kovalainen does not manage to make the overtake work as he slots in behind Häkkinen. Häkkinen had one great start though, he's jumped up all the P2 in class. From starting at the back.
Yeah.
And this shows how much a good start matters when you're doing standing starts.
Very solid first couple of laps so far. And,
I believe this is lap
let's see what
3 everyone's
Kovalainen
up.
can do. Thomas Jensen is already 3 seconds ahead of Gonzalez, and Tom Dentist still in third, but he does look to be closing up.
I think you can actually see when the GT1s start hitting the traffic, because that's when the race is going to get interesting, I believe, for these. It may.
Yeah.
Also, I'm still wanting to know how these fuels going to affect these cars, as it has been mentioned that there is a fuel difference. They got a lot more fuel than the GT3s. Kovalainen still closing the gap onto Häkkinen. Häkkinen takes the defensive line into Brooklands. Kovalaine's very close to the back of him though. Let's see where this ends up. As he gets a slightly poor exit out of Woodcote onto the National Pit Straight. Believes to be in position as Gonzalez has had a spin or something, because he's dropped all the way back to P9. He's lost a lot of positions there. Yeah, he's dropped all the way back. He's now 6 seconds behind Hodgson. So the Salines are both all the way in the back of the GT1 field. Seems to be a bit of movement going on in the back of the Z4s as Naf seems to make the position on to Ross. And Naf needs to make always a back up because he qualified really well, I think, and he's now all the way at the back. So, a couple of positions to make up.
Something's happened to Victor Berlin.
Yeah, and
He just lost a bunch of positions.
Yeah, I think he lost one position, but he's lost it. And Sebastian Rolby's closing the gap onto Sebastian as well. So the GT3 field's getting very close as Victor goes for the move around the outside. And I believe Oscar will manage to just keep in front just for now. So all enter into cops now. There's a little train of the GT1s. Gonzalez are nowhere to be seen. As Kovalainen has managed to make the move work on to Häkkinen. soon break the 10-minute mark into the race, and we already had lots of overtakes happen in the first 10 minutes or so. There's a pack of cars behind Sebastian's getting very close right now, and Wolby seems to manage to pick up some pace out of what was not very good practice or qualifying for him. He's managed to find some sort of pace in going into the race now, as he's right on the back of Sebastian. I believe something might have happened to Boogie, because he's 5 seconds behind Tom Dentist now. We may have missed something up there. He's dropped down a lot of positions.
Speaking of Dentist, he's 7 seconds behind Jensen, so Jensen still maintaining his high pace advantage over the other drivers.
Hoskins slowly closing onto the back of Wolby, as Wolby's dropped a bit back off Sebastian as well. So you can try to improve where he should be right now. If you don't know, Hodgkin is the physics dev from Sector 3. So he's the one who's responsible for redoing all these GT1 cars, and he also did the GT2 free physics. And basically any current new cars he's in charge of doing the physics of. So it's nice to see him racing and enjoying what he's made, because he should be proud of what he's done, because these cars are, I say, some of the best cars in the game right now. Or if not the best cars in the game. Many people seem to agree, as Wolby goes a bit squirrely over the curb.
A bit sideways, yeah. Loses a bunch of time to Bernier.
They're all still very close together.
Hodgkinson closing up behind him, and Berlin closing up on Hodgkinson, so this could get interesting.
There seems to be a little pack building here. Surprise as Hodgkin makes the move onto Nygaard, he gets very slow through the village section. And does he really lose another position though to Victor Berlin, who goes round the inside through Bucklands and does manage to do it? Will Robert Nygaard manage to make an attack on the return? No, he does not. And he slots in, but
that's Wolby.
Wolby, I mean.
Not Nygaard.
Yep. The problem is we're both buying green Koenigseggs. That's the issue. Pretty sure Sebastian is closing in on Nygaard though, so this might get a bit more interesting. So Hodgkin's next target will be Sebastian Brunier, but he's still got to worry about Victor around the back of Victor. Sort of managed to keep with these two, but managed to keep in for these three, and just keep very close to them. Occasionally looking like he wants to make a move, but doesn't actually really commit to it. We still have yet to meet traffic though in this pack. As we're gonna soon hit the quarter mark. As he makes a mistake there, and Berlin managed to get past, and this night Wolby managed to get past, and no, he doesn't. Will be right in the back of them now. Well, it's going to be a game here who can make the least amount of mistakes, because that seems to be all the positions to be made out of. Someone making a mistake and then the other cars passing. Oh, and Sebastian makes the move onto Robert, but goes a bit deep and may lose position to Victor as well. Doesn't do that though, but that's a very, very late lunge into Brooklands. Trying to make the move work there, but it doesn't, and it loses some time.
Hodgkinson was looking up the inside of Berlin, but he's not close enough to make a move. This entire pack is sticking very close behind, though.
Well, it seems to be closing in on Nygaard, so Nygaard must be having issues of some sort because he is they're getting closer and closer to him, and he's got free air, so something is going on there as they're all looking around to try and make a move if they can or not, but it doesn't seem like they can.
Think something.
No, I think there's a timing bug
Something's
going on.
gone very wrong between Thijs Dendau and Sven de Roos, I think, because Naf used to be in last position and
Oh,
Dendau used to be falling through the map.
Endo has been not on
He's
my...
disconnected because he was falling through the map.
Well,
So something's not quite gone right there.
is that
Berlin making the move on Hodgkinson.
didn't
Or
Berlin...
Hodgkinson or Berlin.
I think Hodgkin managed to take Berlin. Berlin's at the back of Sebastian, and now Hodgkin's in front of him. So this little fight's just not going to go, is it? And surprisingly, it's in the GT1 class. I was thinking it'd be in GT3 with a fight, but apparently not. As
We do have some very good drivers in GT1 though, so yeah, I was thinking the pace was going to be close, but I was not quite expecting a fight like this.
well, and you can see Gonzalez is closing in the back of the Saline. He's the fastest out of all this pack, and he's closing on them. So it's going to see how he handles this little pack here, and what's going to happen when traffic appears. Will they meet traffic? They should meet traffic, because... But when are they going to meet the traffic? As you can see, it's in the distance. A quick shot before of Bugviv in the other corner, like the yellow one. It's a bit annoying we don't have the proper full onboard cameras for these cars, because this would be really good to see. As Victor Berlin goes
Berlin
round the
goes
outside,
for the late braking move on Hodgkinson, but
can't make anything out of it. Hodgkin managed to just keep him off for now. As Warby trying to
I
look.
don't think he
make a
was
move.
quite close enough to make a move like
Ooh,
that. Yeah. Oh, Hodgkinson
Hodgkin
is
gets
off.
a big slide there, and loses positions. He loses them all his positions now. He's now back into 8th. So now he's got to make it do all over again. So let's quickly
Meanwhile,
change.
in GT3, it seems that Kovlainen is closing up a bit on Whitford, and so is Haynes on Häkkinen. So we could see some fights in GT3 soon as well.
Yeah, I think we're just going to quickly just have a quick look, just so GT1 doesn't get all the screen time. But it's been a really, really good race so far. Right, there you go, that's your screen time done. There's a bunch of action going on, more action going on. in
Sven de Roos has spun.
Someone's into the
So,
pits.
Nygaard,
My god, so
I think he's
Nygaard?
retired.
Away from the race. It's a shame because he was leading this little pack, but obviously something must have happened to him.
Yeah.
Oh, I believe Whitford is in the wall right now. Whitford's in the wall.
Oh,
So
he
your
is.
GT3 leader ends up in the wall. He's losing positions, and yeah, he's got a bunch of damage there. As Hodgkin does drop it into P8, he must have an issue as well. He's lost a bunch of positions as well. So all that drama happened in a couple of seconds. So Gonzalez is moving his way up through the grid. He's managed to make one overtake. How many more can he make?
Whitford is in the pits. So we've got our first pit stop of the race, it seems. Mark Whitford.
So is he actually doing a full stop, or is he just retiring the car?
Oh, I think he's retired as well. Yeah,
That's 2 retirements so far. And then,
yes,
well,
I think
3.
he is. Yes. He did drive into the pits properly, but he's now in the retired position, let's say.
Yeah, that's unfortunate.
Haynes is getting very close to Hakkinen now.
I'm going to use some of these onboard shots.
Goes on the insides.
Oh,
Not quite.
I think
able
we
to
had
do it yet.
another incident. Something's... Oh, that's what's going on. Victor Burns in the pits. There we go. I was wondering what's going on. So is Alex Hodgkins also in the pits now. A bunch of very early pit stops
In
going on right now
GT1.
by the GT1s.
Berlin goes up on the jacks, so he's changing tires.
You want to keep track of that? I'm keeping track of the
And
current fluctuations of Haynes and Hakkinen.
Hodgkinson just retired.
No. So something's not going on there.
And Berlin is back.
Okay. But now
Onto the track. He's going very slow, it seems.
Pack is somewhat split
And
up
he
now.
is back on track.
So he's in between a bunch of the GT cars now. He's got to hopefully they make pit stops for him very soon.
As Mark Whitford has reported in the YouTube chat that his engine was apparently broken, so that explains his retirement.
I can't blame you. His car, when we saw him on camera, was in the wall. Like, nose first into the wall. So, don't know what's going on there. We can try and work out what Alex Hodgkin's reason for. Warby is currently trying to close the gap with Sebastian Brunier. He's managed to make up 2 positions out of all the retirements going on in front of him. Wolby is still closing the gap on Brunier. As I see Ross in front with a bit of front damage, and we're going to see the first bit of traffic for these cars. We've got a reason as well for Robert Nygaard's retirement. He's got some sort of shoulder pain has developed during the race, and unfortunately had to retire during that.
Welby is getting closer to Brunier now. Oh, he's actually losing time on the straight somehow. Slipstream there, but I'm not sure what happened. Maybe a bad exit. As Gonzalez looks to be closing up on them as well. And Haynes closing up on Hakkinen again. Something must have happened there. Seems to have lost some time.
Wolby's looking for the move around in the village as Gonzalez is also looking for the same move.
Oh, someone's run wide. Brunier's run very wide and he's both.
Yeah, he's lost 2 positions.
So Robbie and Gonzalez.
He's actually going to make them all back up again as he's behind Gonzalez. Because now trying to move on to Wolby.
As Timothy Haynes is in the pits.
That's our second proper pit stopper in this race.
I think. Yes, indeed. Thomas Jensen also in the pits.
As the second of the GT1s into the pits.
It looks like Haynes did not change tires and he's back to the track. Will Jensen be changing tires though? That's the important
Oh, Sebastian's
question.
diving in the pits as well. So again, the full wave of pit stops now.
Jensen is changing tires. These GT1 cars are quite thirsty, so they might be running out of fuel by now.
So where will everyone end up as the GT? Not only only one of the GT 3 cars pitted, right? I believe.
You're right. Only Haynes has pitted so far in the GT3 field.
Victor Burton lost a lot of time in his pit stop because he's still behind the 2 GT3s.
I think Jensen is back out on track now. He's in 5th position.
So he's behind Gonzalez and Wolby.
Brunier is also changing tires in the pits right now. Seems like Brunier is going to end up behind Berlin.
Does seem that way, as he is maybe 3 seconds behind him, roughly. And so he is. Oh, and Gonzalez is entering the pits now as well. So we're starting getting all the pits.
That's Bugayev also entering the pits. He's currently in P2.
So Tom Dentis is your current race leader. Now I've got a theory going on here. You remember Zandvoort? You remember Shanghai? You
I
remember?
do remember those.
You remember? Do you remember some of the strategies we had there?
Hmm.
Is Tom Dentist gonna try this? Is he gonna try the
He
Shanghai
might.
strategy again? Because it would be a way of him trying to get in front. Don't know how long it will work. But Wolby's 30 seconds behind him. Thomas Jensen's now 17 seconds behind him. So, don't know. It may happen.
Well, it seems that so far all the GT1 cars are changing tires. Bugayev and Gonzalez both changing tires in the pits right now.
Oh, this is now exciting now for the challenge of the lead when you think about it now. This is how quick can Jensen close this gap now. Because he's got to think in his head this could be happening. And the question is, when does Tom Dentist pit? And he's pitting now! So there we go. Tom Dentist is pitting. Now I guess we need to watch him and see what he decides to do as Sebastian
And keep an eye on Brunier because he looks to be
Oh, he
making
just
a
dive
move.
bombed straight up the side of Gonzalez, just slammed the door into him.
I'll keep my eye on Dentist. Looks like Kovalainen has also entered the pits now in the GT3. He is changing tires.
So Naf has inherited, no, Kovalainen has inherited the lead in that class. As he went P4 overall, so the order's really messed up right now.
Let's see what Tom Dentist does. And Tom Dentist is changing tires.
Ah,
So no interesting strategies, unfortunately,
wow.
this time around.
Oh.
Seems to be playing it safe. Trying to keep his second
I was really
position.
hoping he was going to do something like that. That'd be hilarious.
Yeah, that would be interesting, for sure.
But no, he decides.
Walby has also entered the pits now. And he is also changing tires. So it looks like
Did
on the
Dima
GT1s
have an
are
issue?
changing tires.
No.
Who?
Oh no, sorry, I was getting it all mixed up. Don't worry, ignore me. As Gonzalez looking to get revenge on Sebastian after that, what can consider is a slightly dodgy overtake as Kovalainen enters the pits, I believe, now as well. So the order's slowly being reshuffled back into the correct positions. Kovalainen's still very high up the order.
Kovalainen just entered the pits. Looking at the live timing, it seems that Victor Berlin has pitted twice actually.
Wolby just comes out the pits and immediately starts to fight for Gonzalez, so this is going to be a bit. No, so these three cars are back together again. Gonzalez is having not the easiest time trying to get out of this little pack. He's and he qualified P3 and is struggling to get out of P6. So it's not the best.
Not sure why the timing is displaying Victor Berlin as having pitted twice. So I don't think he'd be in fourth position right now if he did.
It's just Berlin things, I guess. It could be worse. It could be Kovalainen. Kovalainen Gunaseka. How many times did he pit stop that race?
Good question. 4 times or something?
3 times.
3, 4, yeah.
Threw away a podium.
Something like that.
Because he kept speeding in the pit lane. Doing this because he assumed the line
misjudged
was
the
later
line,
than
I
it was.
think, yeah. It's Gonzalez getting close to Brunier.
You should watch the replay of that if anyone's here, because that was one of the most confusing things as a broadcaster to try and understand. What was going on during that? Like, as Gonzalez is looking for a move on Sebastian. Looking around the outside, going to make the switchback work. No, he doesn't, because there's a curb in the way. And that Nissan is very large and big. Looks like this is going to be...
Jorgen Walby also closing up on both of them. Getting very close now.
25-minute mark is gone. 25 minutes left of this race to go. As Gonzalez looking around the outside, inside, he's going to the outside now as he gets contact with Sebastian. And Sebastian loses the position to Walby. Gonzalez managed to make the position up. So, new order for that little pack is Gonzalez, Walby, and Berlin. Not Berlin, Brunier. So now it's up to Walby to make a position up, as Walby, who had a very, not the best qualifying, is all the way up in P6. I mean, even with retirements, that's still not a bad result after what was not exactly the best qualifying, or practice for that matter.
It looks like Sven de Roos is making his pit stop now, but he's very far down indeed in the GT3 field.
Has Naf not pitted? No, he hasn't. Okay. So, Haynes has managed to jump Kovalainen in the pit stops, I think. Naf has not pitted yet. Is Naf going to do my favourite strategy?
Actually, I don't think de Roos changed tires there, although it did seem to be a long stop, but I didn't see him get up on the jacks, so I'm not quite sure. But yeah, he's really far behind, so I don't think that's going to
I
matter.
think it's the only car that's been lapped so far. It's the only one with a +1 lap. So
You're
far.
right.
So I don't know. I think he's the only one that has been lapped so far. Of course, the cars below him have all retired, so they're all in the pit stops. Let's have a quick look at your race leader. Here is he laps Timothy Haynes. I believe so. He is lapping the GT3 field now at a. Oh, he is, and so Thomas Jensen with a 30-second lead.
On Dentist. That's not
Dentist.
something we're used to seeing. They're
It's
normally
normally
very close together.
I think the only time it's happened was Monza, where Dentist had some talking to a wall, and he managed to recovery all the way from like P10 to P2 in the end, with the earliest pit stop call I've ever seen. And I think he didn't take tires or anything. He just did so he dived in the pit meeting and had to drive and drive and drive for a good 40 minutes on worn tires. So going to GT3, Kovalainen's closing on the back of Haynes, who's so Bentley versus Mercedes. Bentley, a trusted car in the OVRC, being used for many seasons, won many races, won 2 championships, versus the Mercedes, a car which I think has only ever won 1 race in the OVRC history, and that's season 1. I don't even actually know if it won then. Can't actually remember if it did. Did it? I can't even remember now. But yeah, it's been used in the last season by 1 person. The season before that, I think it was used by 3 people. So we don't know how good it is really in the good hands as he gets passed by Kovalainen. Or does he? Oh, side by side still. Alex is gibbering again. Ba-ba-bum.
I mean, Kovalainen is getting close though. It's not quite overtaken yet, but they're coming up to the hangar straight now. And he is close behind.
Haynes takes a very, very early line down the outside here.
Looks up the inside, not ready to make a move yet. Kevin Navis in the pits.
Naff is signing of pitting, and I believe he's going to lose positions out by these two. As these two are going down the pit straight now.
And never changing tires.
Okay. So
no
once again,
interesting
everyone
strategies this race, unfortunately.
strategies are dead in this race. What? I have to turn the tire wear up. No, no, wait, I don't want to do that. That makes it worse. Turn the fuel rate up even further. There we go. As
Kovalainen just make the move on Haynes.
oh, and then Kovalainen spins it.
Yourself.
So Kovalainen makes the move around the inside and then spins it immediately afterwards. So he's now going to make all his position that time back up again. He's lost about 7 seconds. So going back to someone a bit closer, Gonzalez is closing on the back of Berlin as he continues his comeback drive all the way from last in class after an incident.
Hakkinen is in the pits and changing tires.
Very late pit stop. Oh, that's a very, very late pit stop.
Hasn't he pitted yet? I thought he had.
He's only pitted once according to timing. So
And now he's pitted twice. Now that he's actually left the pits.
did he not pit for tyres the first time?
I think he did. So
So the only reason I
not
think that is
sure.
that he's not feeling confident on the tyres and decides to change tyres anyway. Gonzalez is still trying to close the gap onto Berlin. As they approach the Sven de Vos. Unfortunately, he's not having the best race right now.
Gonzalez getting ever closer to Berlin on the Hanger Straight now. There's some traffic. Of course, Sven de Roos. So it just looks like Sven got in the way of Gonzalez being able to make a move on Berlin there. Let's see if we can try anything on the next lap. Although he's trying something now. Around the outside of
He's got a
club.
bit of contact.
There's contact.
Berlin has a bit of a twitch there from the RUF. Probably the turbo kicking in just then. My guy in the background there, but I don't think he's really in this fight right now. As Gonzalez looks like being on the outside. Still there, has to slot in behind for now. Down the ins, he's looking for the inside. Going down the national pits now, a bit more contact between the two of them. Another bit of contact.
More.
As Berlin managed to stay in front as well, so
Seem to be playing bumper cars there on the national pit straight.
don't be doing that too much.
Getting close once again on the Hanger Straight. Is he going to make a move? He goes on the outside.
I got is slowly closing the gap though with these two fighting. Oh, there's another bit of contact there as well.
Seems like Gonzalez has the inside line.
He's gonna have the outside again.
The
Does he manage to stay in
now.
front? He does.
I
stay
think he's
in
got the
front.
position by now.
And yes, he does have the position now. So after a bit of argy-bargy work, the two finally get past. So he's now in P4.
Now both of them have got to watch out for Walby coming up behind. She's getting very close now.
So get a bit sideways out of the exit there. Kovaline's closed the gap as noise happened to Berlin as he's gone a bit wide, I think, because Wolby's managed to sneak through.
Jensen is in the pits again.
Interesting. Interesting. Kovaline's closing on the back of Haynes right now.
So I'm guessing he thinks he won't be able to make it on the till the end on the fuel he had. He did not change tires, so he's back out onto the track now. So I guess he's just going for a quick splash and dash to be able to finish the race as the Ford behind him went for a bit of a drift. It's Dentist
So Dentist is right behind.
going up the
Jensen,
inside
and he
now.
makes the move. Yes, he does. There we go. The lead has changed. Let's see.
Although presumably Dentist will have to pit again as well, unless he's managed to save some fuel.
And Berlin's in the pits.
Berlin's in the pits. Yeah,
Okay.
that's
Interesting.
we also going for the splash and dash now.
I mean, meanwhile, Kovaline's right on the back of Haynes' Mercedes. I don't know how much time is left in the race, actually. It's actually a good 13 minutes left. I thought it was way closer than it was, but Berlin's strategy is put him completely out of contention, I think, for any further positions right now, because
He's also changing tires again. That's really strange.
Right. So Kovalainen,
Retired.
don't see why you would do that, as Kovalainen is still round the back of Haynes going towards the hangar straight. As Kovalainen tries to move him once again, he's into the barrier, so having the easiest time making overtaking Haynes. I don't know exactly what happened there, but I think he lost the rear end trying to push it a bit too much. So he's now slotted in, and he's 5 seconds behind now, so he's got 10 minutes to make 5 seconds up again. Meanwhile, at the front, there is Tom Dentist leading Thomas Jensen, as there's I see Berlin and the IOF going to get lapped. So, this is going to be interesting.
Yeah, not quite sure what's going on with the strategy for Berlin there.
I mean, Thomas Jensen's pit stop was pretty obvious what he was doing, but Berlin's?
Speaking of Jensen, he's making the move on Dentist.
And he's in front, just about. He's going to have the inside line now for Cops, and Tom Dentist is going to be closing again. They're side by side into Magnussen Beckett. So not the best place you want to go side by side in, as Jensen gets pushed out very wide into the tarmac runoff. Joins
yeah, he's
back.
gonna have to give Dentist that position because he ran off the track.
They say you cut the course.
You have to slow down and give up the time gain.
There we go. So Häkkinen's retired? Yeah, he's retired. Okay, so Häkkinen's retired.
Yeah, he's saying in the YouTube chat that instantly after he pitted, the rear tires completely died. So, not quite sure what's gone on there. And indeed, he has retired.
Lemon de Ross apparently is 0 seconds behind Knaf.
Yeah, I'm not sure that's true.
So
He's just
I
too
wonder what's
far
going
behind
on
for
with
the timing to catch, I think.
what's going on with Haynes and Kovalainen. Kovalainen's already back on him under a second behind after losing 10 seconds after hitting a wall going into Vale. So that's interesting. You'll see they're right on each other now. As Kovalainen goes for the inside move. Will he spin out this time? No, he doesn't. He manages to make the move onto Haynes finally. And there we go. Kovalainen is finally got the lead back of this race after what we say is a very long trip. Unfortunately, comparing the next card does not work on Thomas Jensen because it compares against himself. So,
Yeah,
unfortunately,
I'm having the same issue, so it's a bit of a weird bug. It's getting close though. And then question is, will Dentist still have to stop for fuel? Or has he been saving fuel for the entire race?
a little bit of grass there by Thomas Jensen. They're getting very close to each other right now. The most confusing thing is the entire race, so it has to be Berlin's strategy call. You can look at him now, he's nearly going to get lapped by the leaders.
Yeah, I really wonder what's going on there. I mean, I think we've seen slightly questionable pit decisions from Berlin before in the GT3s, because he had a bit of an issue with speeding in one of the races. So, not quite sure what keeps happening to him in the pits.
Jensen still in the back of Thomas Dentist. Random fact of the day about the Gumper, it did race in real life for a hybrid system. But it's not modeled in game, so it doesn't really matter. There you go, random facts with Alex, because can't really compare the cars still. Is it working? No, it's not. Well, the gap's working. Oh, and Thomas.
I don't. Jensen has managed to take the position.
So he's now in front of the little mistake there by Thomas Dentist, and he's now managed to take the lead. So, 6 minutes remaining in the race. What else is going to happen in this last 6 minutes?
Seems the rest of the field has been split up a fair bit by now, so not really expecting much to happen at this point, except for this battle between Dentist and Jensen.
But now Victor
They
Berlin in
are
the
about to
way.
lap Berlin.
Berlin, I think, gets out of the way. Or does he? He comes back at Tom Dentist. He does stay behind him for now. Tom Dentist gets a bit sideways once again, coming out of Woodcut. So under 5 minutes left of the race to go. Berlin's looking to make a move onto Tom Dentist.
Just look like he wants to make a move, yeah, but I'm not quite sure
I mean, it's not
why.
the first time he's done this. He did it in DTM a while back at the beginning of the Variety Cup. They have an issue with, I believe, Mark Whitford in terms of trying to regain the position back while being blue flagged, and he has gained a position. Well, not position, track place over Tom Dentist.
Yeah,
who seems to be
Dentist ran wide there, so that allowed Berlin to get past.
And I think most of the rest of the field is slowly splitting up. Let's quickly go over the current order of competing contestants, because of course there has been a few retirements. Thomas Jensen is currently leading GT1, followed by Tom Dentist, then Bigrev, Calab Gonzalez, Gorgon Wolby, Sebastian Brunner and Victor Berlin. Atten Kovalainen leads GT3, with Timothy Haynes behind him, Kevin Naff, Sven de Vos, and we're going to the quick retirement list of Hakkinen, retired due to issues with his rear tyres. Obviously couldn't just due to general settings being wrong apparently. Mark Whitford due to engine damage, and Robert Nygaard due to back issues, or yeah, shoulder issues, there we go. And what was there was one more. Oh, Jack was
Dendo.
Dendo, who had connection issues.
Oh, connection issues, I think.
Yeah. So there we go. Unfortunately, only 11 cars remaining in this race. There's been some interesting moments as we head into the 2-minute 30 mark. There's going to be about 2 more laps remaining, with 2 minutes left on the clock. 1 minute 50 average lap. 1 more lap after this. And to be fair, Thomas Jensen did just dominate the race. Do we do another interview of him? Yeah, he clearly dominated this race. He had a second advantage in qualifying, and before he pitted, I think he had like a 30-second advantage over Tom Dentist.
Yeah, although it is interesting that Dentist hasn't had his second stop yet, so either he's going to have to come in this lap or he's saved enough fuel to finish the race with only 1 stop.
I think the cars in theory can do a 1 stop. I don't think the 2 stop is necessary unless you. And I think that's what called Berlin now. I think
Yeah.
Berlin was expecting the 2 stopper to come out.
The other GT1 cars have also stopped once so far.
I think
So
Thomas
it seems
Jensen stopped.
Jensen is the only one who did a second fuel stop. I guess maybe he just thought he had a comfortable lead, so that's why he chose to do that.
Berlin spun out in the background. You can see there. But the fact that Tom Dentist is 4 seconds behind Thomas Jensen shows you the pace difference. As I believe we are going to have 1 more lap after this one. As it's 30
Yes,
seconds
we
left.
are.
So 30 seconds left as they head towards the start-finish line. And there we go. So this will be the last lap of this race. There's nothing really going on right now. Fortunately, there's sort of a lot of empty pack racing going on. Gonzalez, I believe, is slowly closing the gap onto the back of Bergev. I don't think we'll be close enough to make a move. It's a 2-second gap. The checker flag is out now. Then who has been lapped will finish this lap.
Seems everyone's just bringing the car home at this point.
I'll check if I won't be out this lap actually, will it? No, it won't. I was wrong. It'll be out as soon as Thomas Jensen crosses the finish line, which will be about... He's about halfway through the track right now. He's going into Magda Beckett's right now. He's glides through there. Again, it's just been a dominant performance by him, and I think if these were running a series, a league format, it'll be a lot closer, because obviously everyone else will build up that experience of the cars again. Because these cars again are a lot harder to drive than the GT3s are. There's less ability to just jump in and drive them fast as Thomas Jensen heads in through the final corner towards the finish line. And there we go, he crossed the line in P1. Coming home in second will be Tom Dentist, who weaves across the line. I don't know who will come in third then, as Nath is closing on the back of Haynes for the last lap. Don't think it's going to mean anything, but it's under a second. So, can you make it happen? Haynes is actually going very slowly. Haynes might have an issue. Haynes may have an issue now.
Yeah, I'm going on board with him, and
He's out of fuel.
sounds like he's out of fuel. He's miscalculated his fuel.
So last
That
lap
engine
drama
doesn't sound like it's running anymore.
for Haynes as he's slowly going round. I think he's going to pull off here. Yes, he is. So unfortunately for Haynes, that does mean he's going to have to DNF. And last lap, the irony is the person he got passed by NAF had a similar issue at Road America in Season 2. Managed to capitulate from it. So,
Bjorn just crossed the finish line in 5th position.
and there we go. That's a race order. Thomas Jensen wins the first GT1 plus GT3 multi-class test race. Well, that's a lot of DNFs though. I think there's a couple more cars running out of fuel as they finish the line. I think I just saw Denju's car on the side of the track then. Interestingly, what's going on with that car? Apparently, he's returned.
Disconnected.
Apparently, he's returned from the dead.
Okay.
The spook
Zombie.
The zombie car's on pit exit. And there we go. There's your results. 8-second lead, and that's probably about a 38-second lead if you didn't do his pit stop. So I guess we do the compulsory Thomas interview. So wait a bit to confirm if you want some. And let's see, here we go. We're gonna have an interview with Thomas Jensen again. Hello, Thomas. Welcome to our theoretical commentary box. It's not the first time you've been in here this week. You've been in here 3 other times now. So you better get used to it. Once again, dominant race by you. Is this a common theme I'm sensing?
Well, it was actually a lot closer than I expected, because the two-stop strategy didn't work out. in my benefit. Saving fuel is definitely the best option and going for a one stop.
I was about to ask, was that pit stop out of kindness, or was that pit
No,
stop
no,
out of
that was just
necessity?
my planned strategy. I was just going for 50 liters of fuel and tires in the first stop, and then 50 liters of fuel in the second stop. Because while pushing, you use like 230 liters in the whole race, and the fuel tank is only 110 liters. So you have to do a lot of fuel saving, which Tom and Jorgen did, and definitely worked out for them, as you probably saw when I came out right next to Tom.
Yeah, you did see that, and I was just wondering because it's sort of only 2 people did it. It was you and Victor Berlin. Berlin mucked up, I think, by taking tires.
In the second one,
Yeah, in the second stop, he took tires in both stops.
yeah, that's not a good idea.
So how was it though as a multi-class race in these cars? Did you feel it was a good balance of cars, or did you feel?
Yeah, I really liked it. Shame that some people retired because there were already quite a low amount of GT3s. There weren't many left. If we can get a larger grid, this will be really enjoyable.
It's one of those things again, isn't it?
Yeah,
Larger
it's
the grid.
the summer heat.
Oh, heat. Well, has anything else to add, Erwin? Because we can't congratulate you any more than just saying congratulations on winning a race.
Well, I think we should congratulate everyone on a successful test.
Yep.
It was really enjoyable.
Right. Erwin, want to add anything?
Not really. Just congratulations on the win.
Yeah, thank you guys again for the commentary.
I'm going to have to move you back with the fellow drivers. Right, there you go. It's Thomas Jensen again. And there we go. That concludes our GT multi-class test. Hope everyone did enjoy it. There'll be a short break now from OVRC broadcast. We have an announcement coming up in the next couple of days or something, weeks, something like that. Got lots of exciting things coming up. Gonna have explosions, spinning text.
Oh yeah.
It's gonna be great. Yeah, it's gonna be the best season 4. So anyway, again, thank you all for me for watching the entire season of season 3. For the most part, since we started streaming it, the support we got has been great, and I've enjoyed most of the stuff. There's been a couple of times when it's been a bit hard, like rushing the stream out because you had something happening. Other than that, it's been an enjoyable experience. And if you wanted to add,
Yeah.
Erwin, before we off.
Yeah, I've really enjoyed doing this commentary with you this season, and I'd be happy to keep doing that in the next one. Certainly looking forward to it. And yeah, thank you to everyone who has watched us this season and everyone who has supported us. Hope you enjoyed all the races, and see you for season 4.
Yep, and the announcements will be up for that. Again, thank you all for watching. We will see you next time, wherever it may be. Be racing NSU TTSs. Spoilers.